What's up? So, this video has been something that I've been wanting to do for a while now, and I'm finally going to pull the trigger on it. I'm going to try a new camera setup here. As you can tell, the lighting is a lot better. Before, the light bulb that we had in this light that I have above me was a floodlight, and it was hot and it was bright. I've got a halogen bulb in this now, so I'm going to try and see how this works and whatnot, but a little better lighting that way it's not so fucking dark behind me. But anyways, this is going to be the Metallica retrospective, where I'm going to literally talk about every single fucking Metallica album. I thought about cutting this into parts, like doing 80s, 90s, 2000s, but I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it all, and that's how we're doing this. So, I might do these for other bands as well, but this is the kind of the trial run for my favorite band of all time, so that's how we're doing this. So, I'm not planning on doing any bells and whistles yet for any kind of videos. I'm still just going to do the straight, camera stuff like that. I may do editing in the future, but we'll see what happens. But anyways, let's kick this off with the very first album, Kill 'Em All. So, I think this was the third Metallica album I ever had, was Kill 'Em All. And I have to say, for this being the only third Metallica album that I ever owned, it's a fucking monster of an album. To me, Kill 'Em All is one of the best albums ever made. It, from start to finish, is an absolute fucking... It goes for your jugular. To me, this album is all killer, no filler, no thrills. It's a fucking punch in your face. To me, it's one of the best thrash albums ever made. To me, it is the first ever thrash album ever made, because without Metallica, you would not have Megadeth or Anthrax or Slayer or any of those great bands. To me, Metallica kind of started it all. To me, Kill 'Em All is the first ever pure 100% thrash album ever made. It's kind of important in my eyes. From the first ever Metallica song ever recorded, Hit the Lights, to Four Horsemen, which is one of my favorites, Motor Breath, and the absolute killer drum intro, one of my favorite intros to a song. I will say the only song on this album that I'm not particularly a big fan of is Jump in the Fire. I've never really been a big fan of that song. It feels weird to me, the riff and everything, but I still like it. Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth. Up until a couple years ago, I actually never listened to it. Because, keep in mind, I've only been a Metallica fan for 15 years. I didn't really know what that song was about. Over the past 3 or 4 years, I've learned what it is, and I actually really like that song now. Especially the end with the part where I think it's just where it's just Cliff and Lars, and I think James, when they're doing the, I really like the ending to that song. So yeah, Whiplash, which might be in my top 3 off this album. I fucking love Whiplash. That's one of the best Metallica songs I think ever made. I love Whiplash to death. It's pure thrash. Phantom Lord, which is an underrated fucking song. I absolutely love Phantom Lord. It goes in a lot of different places. It goes in I like the intro, I like how fast it goes, I like the middle section. Phantom Lord is one of the best songs I think on this album, and not a lot of people don't play it often, not a lot of people talk about Phantom Lord. It's one of the best songs on this fucking album, I feel. I absolutely love No Remorse, one of the best songs on this album. And of course, who does not know fucking Seek and Destroy? To me, Seek and Destroy is one of the most popular Metallica songs ever made. Who doesn't know the intro to... Who does not know that fucking riff if you're a metalhead? So... And then the closing track of the actual album, Metal Militia, a fucking killer song. And then I think, up until recent years, it had the absolutely killer, one of my favorite Metallica songs, and it's a cover of Diamond Head's Am I Evil, one of my favorite covers of all time, and then Blitzkrieg. And I did not know those were covers for a long time. So the first time I ever listened to this album, I remember when we got to Am I Evil, I was like, holy shit, what is this? And I absolutely love Am I Evil. It's one of my favorite songs that the band has ever done, even though it's a cover. So, but Kill 'Em All, to me, if you've never listened to Kill 'Em All, in its entirety, you're missing out. To me, even though I'm not a big fan of Jump in the Fire, I like this whole album. Because, to me, it absolutely crushes your fucking face. I will say, for 1983, the production on this is very well done. The drums, I feel, sound good. The guitars are smoking. James's vocals are really good, even though they're really high. I don't know how... I think James was what? Oh, man. He had to be in his late teens into his early 20s when they recorded this, so I think his vocals were not all the way there yet. So, yeah, especially on the first two albums. And even the third album, his vocals are still got this high-pitched kind of abrasiveness to them, which I really like, actually. So yeah, but Kill 'Em All, one of the best, I think, thrash albums ever made. So there's the first album. Then we get to my uncontested favorite. Not only Metallica album, this is my favorite album of all time. So, Ride the Fucking Lightning. I got this album, I think, fourth. I think this is the fourth one I ever got. Because I remember I got it as a Christmas present about 10 years ago. And this album is a fucking masterpiece. I like... this is my favorite... Not only my favorite Metallica album, I said, it's my favorite album of all time. From the absolute killer opener of Fight Fire with Fire, which is a thrash masterpiece. That's one of my favorite songs in this album. So the title track, Ride the Lightning, which is a great song. And then my favorite song of all time, For Whom the Fucking Bell Tolls. It is a classic. Absolutely love For Whom the Bell Tolls. It's one of the best songs ever made, in my opinion. Just the riff, the drums, just For Whom the Bell Tolls. It's the thing I like about this album, more than Kill 'Em All, it's not so technical. Kill 'Em All is them going 1,000 miles an hour. Ride the Lightning, I feel like they scale it back just a little bit on certain songs, especially For Whom the Bell Tolls and Fade to Black. They're not going, they're not absolutely crushing every song. For Whom the Bell Tolls, it's a lot more scaled back as a thrash metal song, but it's still in your face, which I like. Fade to Black, which apparently, from the band and Cliff and fans, got them shit back in 1984 when they used the acoustic on the intro to Fade to Black, which is one of the best Metallica songs ever made, in my opinion. Fade to Black is a great song. I absolutely love it. And, it's crazy to me that metalheads, especially for this band, for Metallica, give this band so much shit. And we'll get into that when we get into the later stuff. But for Metallica, the fans, just stupid fucking shit like that. But what the fuck ever. Fade to Black, Trapped Under Ice, which is one of the best songs on this album. And I feel it's a very underrated song. Trapped Under Ice. It's a killer. I think that's the most thrashiest song on this album, is Trapped Under Ice. It's full on. It's about as fast as anything else on this thing. Escape, which was a song that was not intended for the album, which I did not know till years later, was something that the record label wanted, I guess. And I like Escape. It's heavy. It's a good song. I know why the band doesn't like it, but I feel Escape is really underrated, actually. Creeping Death, a fucking classic. Who does not know Creeping Death? And then, of course, the absolutely killer instrumental at the end, The Call of fucking Cthulhu, which is, in my opinion, the best instrumental Metallica's ever done, besides Orion. Absolutely killer song. I love Call of Cthulhu. It goes in a lot of different places. So, yeah. Ride the Lightning, my favorite album of all time. My favorite Metallica album of all time. It's one of the best albums ever fucking made, in my opinion. I like this more than anything else the band has ever done. From start to finish, it's all thrills, no chills. However the fuck you want to pronounce that. But to me, the album is great. It pulls no punches. It's 8 songs of fuck you, basically. It's got thrash, it's got slower pace numbers like Fade to Black, and even For Whom the Bell Tolls at times. But to me, Ride the Lightning, it's essential if you're any type of metal fan. If you've never listened to Ride the Lightning, you need to. So yeah, there's Ride the Lightning. My uncontested fucking favorite. Go and fucking buy it. Now we get to the album that is considered not only the best Metallica album, but the best. What a lot of people say is the best metal album ever made is Master of Puppets, and I think this was the fourth or fifth Metallica album I ever got. I have to say, Master of Puppets is great. I don't hold it as of a high of esteem as a lot of other people do, just because I like this and the album that precedes it more than this. But it's still a great album. It's still in my top 5 Metallica albums of all time. With, an album opener like fucking Battery. Of course, the absolute classic that is Master of Puppets. That's one of my favorite Metallica songs ever made. The thing that should not be, I feel, is very underrated. Not a lot of people talk about things that should not be. I like the thickness and the slowness and the heaviness of that song. It's one of my favorites. Welcome Sanitarium. I feel I like Sanitarium. I'm not a huge fan of it. I like the song enough. I mean, when they played it live when I saw them, I was like, hell yeah. But it's not one of my favorites off of this album. Let me put it to you like that. I like the second half more than Welcome Home Sanitarium. That's just me. I still like this song, though, quite a bit. Disposable Heroes, I feel, is one of the best songs on the album. I love the lyrics on that song, 21, only son, but he knew his sweat. I like the I don't know if it's about Vietnam or whatever the war the song's about. I like that lyric, that topic that song covers. That's a fucking killer song too. It's thrashy, it's heavy, it kind of goes everywhere. So I love Disposable Heroes. Left from Messiah is one of the best songs on the album as well. It tends to go kind of all over too. It goes slow, it goes really fast in the second half. Left from Messiah is one of the best songs. Orion, to me, is a classic. Not a lot of people talk about Orion because it is that good. I mean, it's got one of the best bass sections in a song. I don't know, it's hard to talk about instrumentals in my opinion because it just is an instrumental, but I really like Orion. As a matter of fact, something that's always stuck out to me as this album. I remember the first time I ever heard this album, that was my favorite song on the album was Orion. Now that has since changed, but I still really love Orion. It's an absolutely great song. And then, of course, the killer album closer that is Damage Incorporated. Without question, other than Battery, the fastest song on this album. It it kicks a lot of ass, does fucking Damage Incorporated. I love that song. I don't know what else to say. Master Puppets, to me, it's a teensy bit overrated. I'm not gonna lie. I still like this album a lot. I borderline love it. I just don't like it as much as the album preceding it and the one that follows it. I'm not trying to put this album down. Master Puppets is a great fucking album. The remaster is great, by the way, if you've not listened to the remaster of any of the first 3 albums. I have the remaster of Kill 'Em All and Ride Lightning, and I've listened to the remaster of this. If you've not listened to the remasters yet, check them out. They're really fucking solid. I'm not trying to put down Master Puppets. It's a great fucking album. But it's just, for me, as a Metallica fan, it's not up as high as, say, Ride the Lightning or the one that's after this. That's just me personally. So yeah, there's Master Puppets. This is the second ever Metallica album that I ever got. And Justice for All. This is in my top 3. I love this fucking album. From the opener, Blackened, to the title track, Injustice for All. And, by the way, they are pushing the fucking time on this album. There's not a song that's under 5 minutes on fucking Injustice for All. They definitely are pushing the they're definitely pushing the boundaries with this fucking album, which I love. It's one of the parts that I love about Injustice for All. From Blackened to the title track to the underrated Eye of the Beholder. I love that song. That song kicks a lot of ass. Which if you can't tell, I even have the fucking flag for one, and then that's my Metallica flag behind me for Injustice. It's got Master of Puppets, Doris, and then it's got the demon for Jumping the Fire on the very bottom. But if you can't tell, I love one. I have a fucking flag for it, for the love of God. Shortest Straw, which is one of the greatest songs on this album. I love Shortest Straw. Shortest Straw. Shortest Straw is great. Harvester of Sorrow, which is in my top 3 Metallica songs of all time. Absolutely love Harvester of Sorrow. It's heavy as fuck. Frayed Ends of Sanity is one of the best songs on this album as well. Frayed Ends of Sanity, hear them calling. Frayed Ends of Sanity is fucking great. To Live Is to Die, awesome instrumental, very underrated in my opinion. And then of course, Dire fucking Eve. This is a killer fucking song. Who does not like Dire's Eve if you're a Metallica fan? And I did not talk about it in Master of Puppets, but of course this is the first album to not have Cliff Burton on it. And I will say, you know, I've heard a lot of people, you know, and that's a really cool picture there of the band, James, Kirk, Lars, and Jason. But to me, you know, I wish, and apparently they're going to remaster this one as well. I'm hoping they put the bass back. It's one of the biggest things Metallica fans have talked about is there's no bass in this album. At least I can't hear it. And especially on a song like One, if you've listened to them play it live, the bass on that song is great. So I'm really, really hoping when they remaster this one next, that they finally do it justice. But unfortunately, like I said, Cliff Burton passed away on the tour for Master of Puppets when in Sweden they hit. Apparently, I don't know how true this is, where the bus hit a patch of ice and it flipped over, and Cliff unfortunately got crushed and killed. To me, that's one of the biggest tragedies in Metallica is that Cliff Burton, you know, only was in the band for like 5 years or something like that. And I would have loved to have seen what Cliff would have done with an album like Injustice for All or anything preceding it. To me, that's one of the biggest shame. I mean, I love Jason. Don't get me wrong. Jason's one of my favorite members of Metallica. He always has been. But I would have just loved to have seen what Cliff could have done for the preceding future, but we'll never know. But Injustice for All is a fucking masterpiece. I can't wait for the remaster. Hopefully, and there's versions online, by the way, that have the bass put back, but I'm talking an actual remastered Metallica stamp, bass included, Injustice for All remaster. I can't wait for that. It's going to be great. And like I said, apparently they're doing all their back catalog remastered, so awesome. So there's Injustice for All, my second favorite Metallica album of all time. And the big one. To me, one of the most controversial metal albums ever fucking made is the Black Album. This is what got me into metal. This is what got me into Metallica. The Black Album holds a lot of esteem to me for that reason. Now, as somebody who's been a Metallica fan for 15 years now, and I've heard all the shit about this fucking album, you know, I don't really understand, and I never really have, the sellout mentality when it comes to the Black Album or anything preceding it, because bands evolve and bands change. Now, and here's the thing that I think is crazy to me. Bands, or fans, I should say, fans bitch no matter what, in my eyes, because, you know, a lot of people say, oh, band sounds the fucking same for 20 years or whatever, and, you know, it's just same old shit, which I do feel bands do a lot. There's a lot of bands that I listen to that have been around for 10, 15, 20 years longer that I feel have done just the same thing over and over. Now, that's not a bad thing. There are bands that do that shit that I love, like Slayer and Cannibal Corpse and Disturbed, and there's other bands out there that, to me, do the same sound over, but do different things, which is what I like. Especially when it comes to a band like Slayer and Disturbed. and even Cannibal Corpse at times has done different things on an album. And bands, to me, that shift, I don't really see a problem in it when it sounds good, by the way. To me, Metallica, at least in the 90s, when they went from Injustice for All to Metallica to Load to Reload, I liked the progression of the sound, because, and I don't understand where a lot of the hatred comes from, because to me, Metallica has never been pure thrash past the first album, at least in my eyes. They've always done different things, whether it's a thing that should not be, or Fade to Black, or even, different stuff on Injustice for All. And yes, there's thrash elements on all 4 of those albums. But when you get to the Black Album, I think it's stuff like, Nothing Else Matters and, Unforgiven, where people are like, oh my god, there's some heavy fucking shit on here. Come on, Enter Sandman, Sabbath True, Holier Than Thou, Don't Tread on Me, Through the Never, Of Wolf and Man, The God That Failed, The Struggle Within. There's some heavy fucking songs on this album. And some underrated ones too, like, My Friend of Misery, and, stuff like that. I feel like the Black Album is one of the most polarizing albums of all time, because I don't know why this thing was so huge. I really don't. Like, maybe it was just because Enter Sandman and Sabbath True and Nothing Else Matters were the first Metallica stuff. Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't alive at the time. To get radio play or to get popularity? Like, I don't fucking know, man. The Black Album just exploded. And it's a great album, in my opinion. If not a little underrated by some Metallica fans, because, now granted, are the first 2 tracks on this album overplayed? Yes. Enter Sandman and Sabbath True are 2 of the most overplayed metal songs of all time. I'm not saying I don't like those songs, because I fucking do. Hell, Enter Sandman's the first Metallica song I ever fucking heard. So, don't get me wrong, I like this album a lot, and it's what got me into Metallica. But, at the same time, I feel it's underrated and kind of overrated at the same time, if that makes any fucking sense. To me, the Black Album, it's a polarizing album. Now, I hate the sellout shit that people say about this album and everything since, and Metallica since fucking Injustice for All, it's fucking sucked, and fuck them, and fuck them, and fuck you. I've always been against the fucking people that are like, Metallica just sells out. But if any other band does this shit, I don't understand why it fucking matters. I never have. To me, Metallica is one of the best bands ever. So, why people are just like, this is shit I've heard my entire fucking life as a metalhead, for the past 15, 16 years now. Metallica just sells out and just, what the fuck ever. And I love the fact that Metallica, since, in my opinion, the Black Album has just been like, we're going to do what we want to do. And to me, I'm going to be honest, even if it pisses off fans, doing what you want to do as a musician is more important to me than anything, because to me, stagnating and just, stagnating as a musician just to sell records, I've never been a fan of it. To me, now granted, if you're like Cannibal Corpse or Slayer or any of those bands, or Cradle of Filth, or what, and even Cradle of Filth, and I'm going to do them at some point as well, have differated from certain elements of them as well. But when it comes to Metallica or any band, to me, just stagnating because that's what the fans want, and that's what they expect every fucking time. I like it when bands challenge people. Metallica certainly has done that. And to me, the whole sellout thing is bullshit, because even Lars, and I've heard Lars say this plenty of times, he was trying to do more complicated things with the drums on Injustice for All to keep up with Dave and people like that. And and granted, Injustice for All is a great fucking album. I love that album to death. But to me, and this has been talked about in documentaries and stuff, to me, when 91, 92, 93, around this time is when thrash was starting to die. And I don't blame Metallica for changing. Hell, look at fucking Slayer and Anthrax and even Megadeth in the late 90s. All those bands changed their sound to a degree. Slayer did with Diabolus and Musica. Megadeth did with Risk, and Risk is... not a big fan of Risk. And I even own the CD. I'm not a big fan of Risk. And even Anthrax did with when they changed to John Bush. I feel like they changed their sound a lot. And of course, these last two albums, Worship Music and For All Kings, have harkened back to their pure thrash sound, which is great. I love those two albums that Anthrax has done. Excuse me. But to me, Metallica, I don't know if they saw the writing on the wall or just like, we have to change our sound because this is what we want to do as a band. To me, Metallica, I like the fact that they've done what they want to do their entire career. And if you're a fan like me, you've either loved it or hated it at times, or you just went along with the ride and just said, fuck it. So, there's my thoughts on the Black Album. It's very underrated at times, and it's very overrated at times. Black Album's been one of the most polarizing albums ever made, so yeah. And we get to Load. I love this album. I don't know why it's so hated. I really don't. Maybe it's because, I saw the article the other day with James talking about conforming or whatever, and I don't know how true that is, but I love Load. It's in my top 5. This album's fucking heavy. Pretty much all the way through. Ain't My Bitch is a great album opener. 2x4 is awesome. The House That Jack Built is one of the most underrated Metallica songs ever fucking made. It's never been played live. It's very disappointing to me. Until It Sleeps is great. I absolutely love King Nothing. It's one of my favorite Metallica songs. Hero of the Day is very underrated, and so is Bleeding Me. Bleeding Me is great. That song is fucking awesome. Cure is really underrated too. I like Poor Twisted Me a lot. Wasting My Hates Against Home. Mama Said to me is the only blunder on this album. I like it, kind of, but it's the guitar. It's the, I don't know if it's a country twang or whatever the fuck Mama Said is, but man, that song does not work. And that's the one song that I can see people going like, ugh, on this album. Yes, Mama Said, very bad. Thorn Within is great. Ronnie is a fucking dark song. If you've never looked into the lyrics for Ronnie, it's about a fucking school shooting. Or something along those lines. I swear to fucking God. And this album was done in 96. Look at the lyrics to Ronnie. It's one of the darkest Metallica songs ever fucking made. Ronnie pulled that gun from his pocket and they all fell down. Wow, wow, just said, lost my way. Ronnie is a great song. Then Outlaw Torn is another 10-minute, it's a damn near instrumental with lyrics. I love Outlaw Torn. It's great. Load is one of my favorite Metallica albums. Why it's so hated, I don't know. I think people wanted Black Album 2. I don't know why the fucking Load is so hated. It's a heavy fucking album, people. Yes, there's some slower kind of stuff on here, but, I mean, it hammers all the way through, I feel. Other than Mama Said. Load is great. I don't know why it's so hated, I know. We have to talk about the appearance of the band. So, after the Black Album, the band went to this. And people shitted all over them for it. They cut their hair and changed their appearance, and, and I've even heard Jason talk about this. How they go from Black Album to the back cover where the band is literally smoking Cuban cigars and whatever the fuck this picture is. I can see people shitting all over that for this reason too. I've never really got the whole changing of an appearance thing, because who gives a fuck? To me, the music in a large way is all that matters. Now granted, somebody like myself, whether it's Misfits or Black Veil Brides or Cradle of Filth or Slipknot or whatever, I like band images. Like, you know what I'm saying? I like the way a band looks. Judas Priest. The way you look as a band, to me, it matters, but not as much as your music. If you look cool as a band, but your music sucks, who gives a fuck? If your music's cool and you look cool at the same time, then yeah, it's awesome. You know, I'm not saying that appearances don't matter in metal, but it shouldn't matter so much that people have literally shit themselves for just the fact that Metallica cut their hair. And I've heard Kirk say this too. You know, it's not the length of our hair. To me, who gives a fuck? I've had short hair my entire life. So, and I'm a metalhead. Ooh, it's fucking crucifying Sid or some bullshit. It's stupid. It always has been stupid in my opinion. But Load is great. To me, Load is one of the most underrated Metallica albums ever made. I love Load. Everything is good on here except fucking Mama Said, in my opinion. You know, I love the production. Everything sounds great on this album. So yeah, there's Load. Okay. Reload. I feel Reload is very interesting because, man, Load was supposed to be a double album. I don't know why they split it into two separate albums. Maybe there's a reason, I don't know. This album has some very standout tracks on it, especially the first three. Fuel, The Memory Remains, and Devil's Dance. All really good songs. I like Unforgiven too. Apparently people don't for some reason. I've heard that in recent years. I like Unforgiven too. Better Than You is a good song. I really like Slither. That's a very underrated song. Carbon Neon Baby is a good song. Bad Seed's a really good song. That's got a heavy ass riff in it. Where the Wild Things Are isn't bad. Prince Charming is pretty good. Low Man's Lyric, I feel, is on the same length as fucking Mama Said. Weird song. Attitude's a weak song. Not a big fan of that. And I like Fixer a lot. Fixer's a really good song. Reload is interesting. This album is not as strong as Load. It's not. Does it have some strong songs on it? Yes. Fuel, Memory Remains, Devil's Dance, Unforgiven 2. I feel like Slither and Bad Seed are underrated. So is Where the Wild Things Are. Where the Wild Things Are is a really good song. I just feel like Reload, it just... When you compare the two, when you compare these two albums, this one's better. It's better done. It has better songs. It's a better put together album. I feel like if you took the best stuff from Load and Reload and made an album, which in my opinion would be like Fuel, Memory Remains, Devil's Dance. If I was to do 10 songs, let me do 10 songs. Let me do 5 off Load and 5 off Reload. Let me do 5 off Reload first. I'd do Fuel, Memory Remains, Devil's Dance, Unforgiven 2. Either Prince Charming or Where the Wild Things Are. That's kind of a tie. If I was to do 5 off of Load, I would do House of Jack Built, Until It Sleeps, King Nothing, Bleeding Me, and probably Outlaw Torn. But I wish they would have just released this as a double album. Why they split the fucking shit in two, I don't know. But I really like Reload. It's still a good album in my opinion. It's not as good, like I said, it's not as good as Load. It really isn't. It's got standout tracks on it. So I just feel like Reload to me, it just... I feel like a lot of, like, the second half of this album is just the stuff that didn't fit on Load. I feel like if they would have took out, you know, Mama Said, and even Wasting My Hate, Poor Twisted Me, and Cure, as much as I like those songs, and just put the best stuff off of Reload onto Load and made it a whole album, and just made this like a B-sides collection or some shit, like, I don't know, like, I feel like Reload, it isn't as tight as Load, but it's a good album. I can listen to Reload. It's still good. So, That's it for the 90s. 3 albums in the 90s, and then we get into the 2000s. So I have Garage Inc., but I'm not going to review it. It's a great covers album if you... To me, Garage Inc. is the best covers album ever made, in my opinion. I love Garage Inc. It is a killer album. Excuse me. So we get to Saint Anger. I don't have a copy of Saint Anger, so I'm not even going to pull it up. To me, Saint Anger, it just... I was just thinking about this before I started this retrospective. Saint Anger, to me, if the production would have been better, if the drums would have been an actual drum set, because, and I'm going to show you guys something here real quick, since I'm even thinking about it. Since I just mentioned drums, I'm going to do it. So, this is my snare drum, right? We produce the, so, this is my snare for my drum set, right? That's what a snare is supposed to sound like. Now, this is what Lars did for fucking Saint Anger. He turned the snare off, right? So it just sounds like this. That's what you hear the entire time you're listening to Saint Anger. You know? 70 minutes. Just that. Okay, so there. So that's what it's supposed to sound like. This is what it sounds like in Saint Anger. Is that not the dumbest shit ever you've ever seen in your fucking life? Turn the snare drum off. Why? Why would you do that, Lars? I love Lars. He's my favorite drummer. That's why I play drums, but I would not turn the fucking snare drum off on my fucking snare drum. And I've heard people say, you know, bands like Fear Factory and industrial metal bands do that shit, and they do. I like Fear Factory. I like a lot of that stuff, but, man, it does not work for fucking Metallica. Like, what they were thinking, I don't know. What Lars was thinking, I don't know. Why the band let them do that, I don't know. But Saint Anger is a back alley abortion. It really is. I've only listened to it all the way through from back to front, maybe 2 or 3 times. I like the first 3 songs. Frantic, Some Kind of Monster, and Saint Anger. But the rest of the album, it's hit or miss. Sweet Amber's okay. You know, I like Purify, but Saint Anger to me, it's the production, and it's the fact that it just. Saint Anger is just bad. It's just bad. Like, I can't defend it because I don't listen to it at all, barely. So it's without doubt the worst Metallica album ever made. It just is. Like, Saint Anger to me, and again, you know, Rock Critic said this in his excuse me, Saint Anger video. People that were bitching for the sound change in the 90s kind of got what they wanted with Saint Anger, because it is pure punch in your fucking face, heavy and thrashy, but man, it sucks. It really does. You know, so there's my thoughts on Saint Anger, my brief thoughts on Saint Anger. It fucking sucks. You know, and I'm glad the band did not break up, you know, for somebody like me who's seen Some Kind of Monster a bunch of times. The band was this close to breaking up completely in 2003, you know, 2002, 2003, in that time frame. because, Jason left in 2001. James went into rehab shortly thereafter, and then it was just James and Kirk and Lars for like a year and a half. And then James came back, and they got Rob, and then the band has soldiered on for the past 15 years. But man, it was a dark time in the making of Saint Anger, but it's not a good album. It's not. So, Death Magnetic. This album is killer. I love Death Magnetic. This was the first ever Metallica album that I was anticipating being released, because I was a Metallica fan since about 2003. So I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for the next album, and then we get Death Magnetic. This album is so underrated, it's not funny. I don't know why people hate this album. It's great. The end of the line. Broken Beat and Scarred is a really good song. Day That Never Comes is great. Same with All Nightmare Long. Cyanide's a great single. I like the Unforgiven 3. Unforgiven 3 is way different. It's got a piano in the fucking intro. Like, holy shit. So the most interesting Metallica songs I've ever made. The Judas Kiss, which is probably my favorite song on the album. I love the Judas Kiss. The song's awesome. Suicide Redemption, which is the first instrumental since Justice for All, which is really good. And then My Apocalypse. Thrashy fucking song. Really good. I love Death Magnetic. It's a killer album. Why it gets so much shit, I don't know. Rick Rubin, and the production, I have to say, it's got too much. It's like this in your face. Like, they cranked the album up so loud. I don't know why. That's the only problem I have with it, really, is just how loud it is. It's loud as fuck. Like, Death Magnetic, it's I know it's metal and stuff like that. It's just, everything is turned to 11, literally, I think, and it just washes out some of the sound of the album. But that's the only problem I have. And maybe when they remaster it, eventually, hopefully, they'll turn it down a little bit. And it'll let it breathe a little more, instead of just in your face. So, yeah. Death Magnetic is great. I love Death Magnetic. So, yeah. And then we get Hardwired Self-Destruct, which I do own, but it's in my car. So, but Hardwired Self-Destruct, fuck me. It's my favorite album they've done since Load. It really is. It's been out for a year now, and I can't get it out of my fucking head. I can't get it out of my iPod. I can't get it out of my car. Hardwired Self-Destruct is a fucking masterpiece. To me, it's not a bad song on the album. Truth be told, when it first came out, I was kind of on the second disc, but now that it's grown on me, it's awesome. I love Hardwired. I love Atlas Rise. Now That We're Dead is a killer song. I really like Now That We're Dead. And then Dream No More. It's a heavy fucking song. Absolutely heavy. And then you get into stuff like Halo on Fire and all that kind of stuff, and just, to me, the first disc is just, it hammers all the way through. And a lot of people, I've heard some people say, like, oh, it shouldn't have been a double album, they should have just, taken what they wanted and blah, blah, blah. But I'm kind of glad we got a double album, because to me, for almost 20 years, we only got one album of Metallica. So, when they said double album, I was fucking excited as shit, because we only got a good Metallica album, and truth be told, it's just 96, one album. So, I was just like, that's cool with me, double album. So, I know a lot of people were like, oh, it's kind of whatever, and all over the place, and blah, blah, blah. But I love Hardwired Self-Destruct. It's a great fucking album. You know, Moth into Flame, of course, is a great single. And then you get into the second disc, you know, Confusion, Man Unkind. Here Comes Revenge is one of the most underrated songs on the album. Same with Am I Savage. Both Here Comes Revenge and Am I Savage are two of the most underrated songs on Hardwired and Self-Destruct. Murder One, which is the Let Me Tribute, which is awesome. And then, of course, Spit Out the Fucking Bone. Holy shit! Spit Out the Bone is, in my opinion, the best Metallica song since I Can't Tell You. It's a 7-minute thrash fucking masterpiece. It just, you know, it's like, you know, if you watch the making of, like I have of this, when they made the album, it's a medley of like 2 or 3 songs slammed together. It's fucking awesome. You know, it's got like Metal Militia kind of vibe to it. It's just Spit Out the Bone is one of the best songs ever. I love Spit Out the Bone. I can't. It's one of my favorite Metallica songs. It fucking rips. It you know, it's heavy. It's brutal. Fucking Spit Out the Bone is like, yes. When I first heard that song, I was blown the fuck away when I heard Spit Out the Bone for the first time. Same thing with Hardwired. I was like, holy shit, Metallica's back and fucking vengeance. You know, so Hardwired and Self-Destruct, a fucking killer album. Absolutely love Hardwired and Self-Destruct. To me, it's the true return to form. Besides Death Magnetic, to me the last 2 albums have been, yes, Metallica's fucking here. To me, the last 2 albums have been the best stuff they've done since Black Album or even Load. You know, it just took them 20 years almost to get there. 10 years for Death Magnetic, and then almost 20 years for Hardwired and Self-Destruct. But again, I feel Hardwired and Self-Destruct the best album they've done in 20 years. That, and then Death Magnetic are right behind it. Excuse me. Since Load. To me, Death Magnetic and Hardwired and Self-Destruct are just awesome. No filler, all killer, awesome shit. I love Hardwired and Death Magnetic. It disappoints me they don't play more off of this album live. Because the only stuff they really play now is just The Day It Never Comes. And they have played the whole album live, but they just don't touch a whole lot of it now, which really disappoints me because, to me, Death Magnetic is a great album, and I wish they would play more of it. Same with Load and Reload. You know, Metallica, I think, is only going to be around for another 10 years. I'm going to say by the time they're in their mid-60s, that will be it from Metallica. I don't know. They could go till they're fucking dead. But I see Metallica going another 10 years. By the time I'm 35, I think Metallica will be retired. So, I'm hoping they do maybe, you know, a Load or Reload show? And they play the stuff they haven't played yet, or I don't know. But it would be nice to hear them play the stuff off of Load and Reload they haven't played yet. Because to my knowledge, they've played every single song off of the first 5 albums live. And they've played everything off of Death Magnetic, and I don't give a fuck about saying it here. And apparently they're going to play everything off of Hardwired and Self-Destruct. So Load and Reload are the only 2 albums that they haven't played everything off of the album yet, live. So I'd really love to see them do that at some point, but we'll see what happens. But that's it. That's the entire retrospective for fucking Metallica. My all-time favorite band. I recently saw them live this past year. It was the fucking shit. And as you can see, I mean, die fucking hard Metallica fan. So, leave me your favorite albums, thoughts in the comments below. My top 5, real fast, since I'm here, I will rank them for you. Might be kind of surprised by it, actually. Top 5. I think it's going to go like this. This is really hard, by the way. Truth be told, my top 5. Of course, Ride the Lightning is number 1. And Justice for All is number 2. Number 3 is going to shock you. Load. Number 3 is Load. Number 4 is the Black Album. Number 5 is Kill 'Em All. Number 6 would be Master of Puppets. Number 7 would be Hardwired, Self-Destruct. Number 8 would be Death Magnetic. Number 9 would be Reload. And then at the very fucking bottom is Saint Anger, but that's just because it's the worst. So, that's why Saint Anger really doesn't even get ranked, because it's the worst. But there it is. There is my Metallica massive retrospective. I may at some point do my top 10 Metallica favorite songs at some point, but that's all short. I plan on doing other bands. I plan on doing Slipknot. I plan on doing Black Veil Brides. I plan on doing Cradle of Filth. I plan on doing quite a few others. So this is just the pilot of the retrospective series, but I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you all for watching this 50-plus minute video, and I'll see you in the next one with more reviews and more other shit. So this is all I got. So as always, metal up your ass, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.